in from. My name is Abingdon, and welcome to the Abingdon Co channel. We go on adventures with women in non-traditional industries. We talk watches during our YouTube lives, and that is what I am going to be doing today. So I am super happy to go over one of our oldest models, one of our most original models, one of my favorite models because of the function. And it's also our smallest watch. It's called the Elise, and it's a travel watch. And we came out with this watch, I've been designing it for, well, I'll tell you, most of our watches, we do a design process for about a year and about 12 to 18 months. And so we were working on this watch for a long time and then released it in 2014. The Elise watch is it's such a unique watch because it's, to my knowledge, and I think I was talking about this on Instagram with one of our crew members. She's huge into watches, Watch Whimsy. She's got a YouTube channel as well. Check her out. I'll put a link to her channel in the description below after the live is done, so you can go and check out her watch reviews. But she and I both believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, definitely put it in the comments or tell me here on live, because we are live, if this isn't the case. I think that the Elise is the only 3-time zone watch made for women. Could be wrong on that. And when I say 3-time zone watch, I don't mean a watch that has like 3 clocks on it. You might have seen some of those. I'm talking about a high-end analog watch that it doesn't look like it has 3 time zones on it, but indeed it does. So we've kind of come to that conclusion that this is the only one that does that. You might be familiar with the Rolex GMT Master. That's an excellent watch, and that also is set up in a very similar way with having 3 time zones. So, and it's also my favorite Rolex. So anyway, I want to go over all the things here on the Elise. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the history of this watch, because the way it was designed is a pretty unique story. And then we'll get into the details. So if you like this channel, I'm glad you're here, and I'm glad you're live with me. So let's start with the story. So the Abingdon Company goes to trade shows. Gosh, I'd say we probably go to about sometimes up to 20 shows a year. And the reason why we do this, we go to a variety of different shows. Everything from a NASCAR race to an air show to a high-end jewelry show for retailers to an industry-wide dive show. It's a great way to not only just meet our customers and get the brand out, but more importantly, it gets us in front of our potential customers where we can interact and we can talk to them and we can find out their ideas for what they haven't found in the watch world. Because unfortunately, in the women's watch world, we tend to be an afterthought, and most watch companies are not designing function and purpose-built watches for female watch owners. So that's kind of our MO. So going to these shows, going to these shows and talking to these people are exactly one of the goals for why we go. And what we always have out, so if you ever see us at an event, at a show, we always have a clipboard hidden underneath, or sometimes it's out on display where people can write down their ideas for what they want to see in the next Abingdon watch. If we hear about it enough times, then we're going to make it. So, and there's even been comments on YouTube on different videos that we've had where people have said, oh, I just can't swallow today. I don't know why I can't talk. But we did have a big weekend over the weekend. The Raiders won. I was kind of excited about that. So I might have been yelling just a little bit. So please bear with me if I clear my throat 100 times today. But in one of our comments, and I'll go over one of the changes that is going to be happening in the next version of Elise, that somebody said, why do you have GMT and military time written as 24 for the 24th hour? Why don't you have 00? That's what the military says is 000 or 0000 or 0000. You know, there's different versions. People say it in different countries, but it's always 00. It's never 24. And I was like, why would I ever put 24? As a pilot, I should know better. So we made that change based on comments on YouTube. And for the Elise, we designed this watch based on comments at trade shows. And it was, let's see, I think it was one of the travel shows that we attended, as well as Women in Aviation, where we started to hear women say, this is great that you have 2 time zones on a watch, because we had our Amelia out. Can you make one with 3 time zones? And I was speaking with a group of flight attendants who said, we need to have not only our home time zone, so we know when to call the family, when to call the kids, the husband, whatever, but we also need to have like Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, which is what most of the aviation world works in, and a 3rd time zone for their destination. So wherever their overnight is, if they're in Munich, if they're in Beijing, if they're in Denver and they live in New York, they just want to have that local time zone so they know what time to meet the crew van, what time to meet up with everybody else for dinner, whatever the case may be. So having a 3rd time zone on a woman's watch was something that they had never seen before and something that they wanted. And then we heard the same thing from other groups in other industries and thought, well, wait a second, are there any 3 time zone watches out there? I don't think so. So we did a bunch of research, couldn't find anything, started putting pen to paper. And I literally, and I've shared these on social media before, and I'll share it later on our social. I will show you the original drawing of the Elise, and it is literally pen, paper, and just drawing hands. It's about the closest thing you can come to a stick figure version of a watch is basically what I drew out. And now we have this. So 2012, 13 was right around when we started to make the decision to come out with this type of watch. And then 2014 is when we released it. And that is a lie. I did not release it in 2014. I released this in 2011. So it would have been 2 years prior to that, about 2009. So 2 years into the company. Now, when we released it, it looked very different. And the Elise, out of all of our watches, because as a small business, one of the things is you really cannot just go through mold changes, design changes, major changes all the time. As a small business, we're still building our foundation. We're still operating at low expense. So we don't have the money to just throw into a whole bunch of design ideas. We really have to think carefully about when we come out with a design. But the Elise is by far the biggest change that we've ever made in a version 1 and a version 2. Some people absolutely love the original version of the Elise, and this is my personal Elise, and I'm wearing it, and I'm also wearing the new version of Elise. So I'm going to show you the differences between the two. But the original Elise had an outer bezel that clicked like a diver's bezel, but it was bidirectional for that 3rd time zone. The problem, though, that with most travelers and most pilots and flight attendants and people that are out, not necessarily working indoors, they're just using and abusing their watch really hard, is you are going to start to get grit, grime, dirt, different things stuck underneath that outer bezel. So if you've noticed, across the board on all Abingdon watches, we put our functions inside, under the crystal. And it makes it for a much, much smoother operation, less risk of getting anything stuck inside your watch that you don't want to necessarily have. Now with the diver's bezels, the dive watches, you're always going to have that outer because you do need that when you're underwater. You need it grippable by a gloved hand. That's a different story. But for pretty much every Abingdon watch, all of our rotating bidirectional crowns, chapter rings, are underneath the crystal. And Elise was the first watch that we had where we put it on the outside. We wanted to try it out to see if this was going to be okay, and a few things we did on the engineering side to make sure that the stuff wasn't getting stuck in. I'm gonna get super technical, so I'm gonna skip all that part, but push comes to shove, at the end of the day, we decided, you know what, we need to redesign this, and that is what I'm gonna show you today, is what our redesign is. So that's the Elise, 3 time zones, pearl dial, absolutely stunning. And it's been one of our #1 sellers, I think, of all time. So it's also our smallest watch. So for those that like a traditional woman's watch that's in the 30 to 35 millimeter size, this is a 33 millimeter. So it's right in the middle of that traditional women's size watch. And I think that's one of the reasons why this watch is so popular. So let's get down into the nitty gritty, shall we? And of course, as always on all of our lives, if you do have any questions, then by all means, put them in the comments below and we will definitely get to them. So, all right, so let me take off the other watch as well. So here we go. So you've got the new version and the old version. A few major changes that we did is obviously the third time zone is now underneath the crystal, so that's a big thing. The other thing, and I've shown this on almost every other video, is that interchangeability on the bands is definitely a feature, and it's going to be a future feature for any Abingdon watch that we come out with. So with all the different band options that we have here, you can always just add a different band, give yourself a different look, and you've got a whole new watch. And I went over that in a previous video. I'll put a link afterwards that shows, I'll put a link somewhere that shows all the different band options and what you can do for different occasions. We did a really cool live video going over that just from a customer's question. So that is probably the two major changes between the old version and the new version. So you can kind of see, I'm going to show them just a bit closer so that you can see side by side what the difference looks like. And I think I got them right there. No glare? Okay, cool. So that's the major difference. If you come across one of the older style Elises, then by all means, pick it up. It's a collector's item. We only made it for 3 years, and we're not going to be bringing this style back. Still a fantastic watch. The movement inside is the same, still a sapphire crystal. All those things are the same. It just has a completely different look. So I'm going to put this one off to the side, and we're going to focus on the brand new Elise. So the new Elise, which I believe it was 2014 that the second version came out with. So it was only a half lie. Please don't yell at me. The new Elise is available in 7 different color options. So I've got the midnight here. We also have a sapphire blue, which is an absolutely stunning watch. This blue kind of cobalt blue on steel. We've got Athenian silver, Tahitian two-tone, rosy, North Star, Egyptian gold, and then we've also got bronze. And all of the watches have a genuine mother of pearl dial. If it's got gold on it, so meaning the midnight, the gold, and the Tahitian two-tone, as well as the rosy, it's a 24 karat ionized plating. What I'm going to do, and this is kind of how I sometimes go back and forth on when I do watch reviews, but for the Elise, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the outside and then work my way in. Some of the watch reviews that I've done, I start on the inside, work my way out. Today is going to be outside in. So you've got a 24 karat ionized plating over 316L steel. Why 316L steel? 316L steel, which is the silver color that you see here, is the same stuff that they make medical utensils, medical equipment out of, so like scalpels and things. Why do they do it out of 316L? Not only is it a very hard material, but it's also hyperallergenic. So it's got the least amount of alloys in it. So if you are ever at a risk of like having your skin turn green because of rings or whatever, the nickel content, there's very, very little. We're talking like less than 1% nickel in 316L steel. I am not a chemist. I don't know the chemical makeup of 316L steel, so that less than 1% may be a guess. Don't hold me to that. But I do know that it's the same stuff that they work in operational rooms with op rooms. So that's why we use 316L. Going to the case, you're looking at a 33 millimeter case, and it's got 16 milliliter Cool. I'm making up words today. In millimeter, you have a 16 millimeter width between the two lugs, and what that allows is for 16 millimeter bands to fit. So on our website, we've got all of our bands in 2 different sizes, and I actually really like the look of that, so I'm gonna put that on right now. We've got 2 different sizes, 20 millimeter and 16 millimeter, and what we've done on all of the bands is we've labeled it 12 and 6. It's a little, I'm gonna see if you can maybe see that a little bit, but we've labeled them 12 and 6 so that you can know what side of the watch to put it on, the 12 o'clock side or the 6 o'clock side. So I'm gonna do that right now because I just kind of want to see what this looks like. But yeah, 16 mils between the 2 lugs. The case thickness is 11.5. It does sit high. Now, it doesn't sit crazy high. 11.5 is not super high, but, and I'll kind of show you, oh, actually it looks really nice. What do you think of this? I like it. You like it? So I'm just gonna kind of put this on my wrist and show you what it looks like. And the reason for the 11.5 case thickness is, so here you go. All right, cool, I like it. It's for the water resistance. So it does have 165-foot water resistance. That's the minimum water resistance you're gonna find on any Abingdon watch. This one is no exception. Does that make it a dive watch? No, it really doesn't make it a dive watch. I'm gonna do another video at some point about water resistance and how they go through and water resist a watch. That's not the exact proper term, but I think you know what I mean, how they rate watches for water resistance. And it is a very unique process. Hey, Cool TV. It is a very unique process that you want to make sure you understand properly when you're buying a watch, especially if you're buying it for the purposes of diving. Water resistance is done in a controlled environment when they test a watch, but when you're in the elements, in the ocean, in the hot tub, you know, wherever you're at, you're contending with a whole bunch of other different elements that you wouldn't contend in a water resistance chamber, in a wet chamber that's full of a liquid, or an air chamber that's just full of pressurized air. So just keep that in mind, that water resistance, when you see 165-foot water resistance on a watch, I would rather you be safe and just divide it by 3. Some people in the watch world are really not gonna like me saying that, but it's going to keep you safe everywhere. And I'm gonna go through a video as to why I believe that is really a much better means of treating a water resistance watch. But basically, you can still go 50 feet with this watch underwater, which is a shallow dive, which is totally no problem. Can you go 100+ feet? I wouldn't recommend it. And when I get into that watch video, I will let you know. But that's the water resistance on the Elise. Another thing, so now we're kind of coming into the watch now, is the movement on the back. It's a Swiss movement. It's a Ronda movement. It's the Ronda 505.24H. And that movement is a 24-hour. So this Ronda 505 has been like one of my favorite movements. I use it in the Amelia watch and I use it in the Elise watch. And what it does, and you can kind of see it, and here I'm going to zoom in. That's awesome that you love aviation. I love aviation too. It can be expensive, but if you truly love it, then we can always figure out ways. So yeah, or just make friends. If you don't have an airplane, the saying goes, if you don't have an airplane, have a friend who has an airplane, and then you'll have as much fun as they do. And pilots always look for people to fly with, so. So anyway, inside, 4 hands. You've got 4 hands in here. You've got your hour hand, your minute hand, your second hand, and your GMT hand. So if you see the little red arrow and the red numbers on the inside that count to 24, then that is the 0.24H portion of the movement. This also has a date function. The 50524H has a date function. Now, what I've done, and I don't know how close I'm going to zoom in on this for you, but if you see right below the 12 number, you see the number 24. That's now going to be changed to 00 because of a comment on a YouTube video. So definitely give me your feedback because it will make these watches better. And I do listen and we love hearing from you. So that's the GMT inside the center. Hour, minute, and second is on the outside, just like any other watch. So that is our movement, date, and there you go, you've got that. I'm gonna put this one away and I'm gonna play with the midnight one here now. You also have a genuine mother of pearl dial, and that pearl dial is in a variety of different colors. So I just absolutely love this combination. A super popular combination is this brown strap, not with a matching strap, but not with a contrast stitch, but with a matching stitch. And it seems to be like one of our top combos on our website. So you can kind of see how those two look. I think it looks stunning. I also, if I want to feel a little bit more girly, I love this white alligator strap. I think that looks really nice, and it makes the white inside the watch kind of pop a bit. So now I want to show you the third time zone. So here is how the third time zone works. You've got this big crown on the side. It is larger than the other crown. This crown is just for setting your time and date, just like any other watch. But the Cool TV, wait a second, you have 3 E6B watches, 2 Seikos, 2 Citizens and 1 Seiko, and you love aviation. If you can afford that many watches, you could definitely go out for some flying. I'm just saying, throwing that out there. But no, I think it's awesome that you have so many watches, because you and me both. I love me a good watch. So this third time zone here, I'm going to set up, we're going to make it super easy. We're in Vegas right now, and I'm going to set it up here, and then I'm going to show you what I've done. And I'm going to move the hour hand out of the way. Okay, so what I've done on this watch, I've put the 3 above the 12, and the reason I've done that is we're going to mimic that we're setting New York time. So basically we're in Vegas right now, and we're going to, well, this video is being taped in Vegas, but let's say we're from Vegas, like I'm from Vegas, and I am in New York. So I want to put New York time on the outside, but I still want to maintain Vegas time on my watch. When I land in New York, I don't need to pull the crown out and reset the watch. All I have to do is just change this dial right here and put the 3 over the 12. So the way I now read this watch is everything on the outside, it's like I shifted a New York clock just over 3 hours, and I still use the same hour minutes that I would reading Vegas time. So I need to take a look at this watch real quick to tell you what time it is. So Vegas time is reading 3:50, which means that New York time is reading 6:50. Okay, so here's how you read this. So, and that makes sense because there's a 3-hour difference. So if you just look at the watch, just like any other watch, then you're going to see that it shows 3:50, right? Hour, minute, hand. I can't teach you how to read a watch, but hopefully you know. And then if you look at the outside, you're going to see that down here, just look at the white ring. Don't look at the regular clock on the blue dial. Look at the white ring. And the white ring, that hour is pointed almost towards 7. Is that correct? So that means that it's almost 7 p.m. or a.m. in New York. So it's 6:50, and it's probably like showing 6:52 right now, or 6:51. So that's how you would set New York time on the outside while maintaining Vegas time on the inside. When I ferry an airplane and I change a time zone every day, I just use this outer outer chapter ring, and I change the time zone accordingly. Super easy. Don't have to pull your crown out. leave Vegas time on the inside, leave your 24-hour clock set to whatever you need for 24 hours. In my case, it's GMT. And then wherever your destination is, there you go. You can set it forward and backwards because it's bi-directional. Isn't that cool? I think that's super cool. This is why I like this watch. It's my favorite travel watch to have with me. So cool. So we went over the 3 time zones. We went over the date. We went over, and of course the crystal. The crystal is a sapphire crystal. So you are going to have a completely, like, the hardest material that you could possibly have on your crystal. All of the hour hands, there's only one. All of the hour markings, hour hand and minute hand, do have superluminova coating on them. So you can have this visible in the dark. So you do have that. And I think that's most of it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Cool TV. You are an aviation science geek. Watches are cheaper. So true than lessons. Yes, they are. Let's see, what were you flying back in 1984? Oh, a Robinson, an R-22 helicopter. Look at you. I really want to fly helicopters. I can't wait to get my helicopter rating. Ugh, I only fly airplanes. I'm only half as cool as you helicopter pilots. Awesome. So I think I've gone through everything. Is there anything that I've missed? No, I'm looking at my producer here. I think we're all pretty good. So yeah, so let's wrap this up, shall we? So again, Elise, super cool watch, 3 time zones, developed by flight attendants at trade shows that we've been going to forever and a day, has had the only major redesign that we've done of any other watch. Pretty much every other watch that we've done, we might have moved a crown, but the look is the same. This one, we completely changed the case. I really like the new improvements with putting that 3rd time zone underneath the bezel, or I keep saying bezel, underneath the crystal as a new chapter ring. I think it looks more like the rest of our watches, like it's part of the family. So I'm a big fan of that. The pearl is just when it catches the light, it's just absolutely stunning. I love that. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have any questions at all about the Elise watch or any of our other watches, definitely put your comments below, send me a DM, follow us on social media, go check out our website. If you have not subscribed to this channel yet, as you can see, like Cool TV we're all talking about aviation too. I am a pilot, I'm a scuba diver, and I'm a wannabe race car driver. Just watch out for any Mini Coopers in Las Vegas. But I absolutely love just empowering women in the watch world and in non-traditional industries, because the watch world is a non-traditional industry for women, and I would love to see more women in it. So if you're a collector, like Cool TV is, if you're just an enthusiast, or if you really want a tool that will help you with the activity that you do, then I hope that one of our watches has met the bill for you. And if it hasn't, I think you guys have got the moral of the story today on live is, by all means, share the good news, tell me what you want to build, and we'll probably build it, because we like building watches. So if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, click that notification bell, join us on the next video, and I will see you guys later.